You know what? The sweet spot for me for Love and Marriage Huntsville is that we get to talk about relationships and we get to talk a lot about family. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this show is that we really get to dive into the nuances of the way different types of relationships function and family dynamics. And there's a sort of like almost every everyday person vibe about this show where I do feel like for the most part there's a camera literally just following these people's lives. You know what I'm saying? And I need to just dive right into one of the main aspects of this video, which is obviously the headline, and it is about Stormy and the jail time, which is really insignificant when we really get into the discussion about it because I mean, we're not clear on what it was for. However, we are clear that it was removed from her record. However, comma, it was the non-reaction from her and it was the total commitment to what was happening in the moment in this scene between her mom's sister, and her cousin Junior, who you guys may recall she fired at the beginning of the season. Now we are seeing the ripple effects of that decision and how it is impacting the family that may have been already fractured. I will tell you what this scene reminded me of, and I don't know if many of you guys will agree or disagree, but it harkened back to me. It made me think about the finale scene in the opening episode of the SWV and Escape show, where you had Tamika confronting her sister with her mom there and with her daughter there, and how that conversation literally exploded and it caused a tidal wave. No, not even a tidal wave. It caused a tsunami of after effects and aftershocks that just continued to ripple throughout the rest of the season, throughout social media. It impacted album sales, I'm sure. I mean, I would guess. I mean, there's so much that it impacted, so much so that I believe that Candy, I think she may be hesitant to put out the speak on it that she has done with Tamika for fear that it may open up old wounds. It's based on what she has said in a previous speak on it. So, I mean, it's just been so far reaching. This scene reminded me, and it was another finale scene. It reminded me of that finale scene because it was such an explosive family argument that it felt like we had almost stepped into the middle of something that had already been going on for years, right? Simmering beneath the surface, there's this family dynamic that's been playing out, and we're finally getting to uncover. Now, my only complaint would be that I did not get to know a bit more about Aunt Lisa before, but we had got enough of Miss Betty to know or to see how Miss Betty handles conflict. And when I tell you that we hadn't seen nothing yet, we had not seen nothing yet. But I also want to take this back to something that I told Carlos King last week on his show. Was I said it's a love and hip hop, not love and hip hop, Lord have mercy. The love and title, it gets me. Okay, it throws me because I just watched Love and Hip Hop Atlanta too. So I'm like, but which was good. But anyway, I digress. We'll talk about that later. Um, Love and Marriage Huntsville this season, in particular, to me, has had a phenomenal season, due in part to, for me, the casting. I knew last season, and I said it last season, Stormy needs to be a cast member on the show. I felt like she had the lifestyle that people are interested in. She's rich, but doesn't, or see, she seems wealthy, but doesn't seem to like flaunt it. She has some quirks about her that are very interesting. And so I just wanted to know more about her life. I want to follow her. I want to see what this journey is like. I find it fascinating how she interacts with the rest of the group. I just want to know more. And she has a different persona when she's with her family. It's almost a softer persona in that it is a lot more vulnerable. Okay. And I enjoy seeing the shades of a person's persona when it comes to these shows, because it allows us to peel back layers that, oh, wow, we get to find out something new. Oh, we get a new scene. We find out something new. And I feel like somebody said this to me, and when you watch a new scene, you almost want to find out something new. You want to discover something new about the person that you've been looking at. You want to see some new dynamics. You want to see some new relationships. And I think that what we're seeing with this particular episode in general is we're seeing some new dimensions and some new developments for a lot of our main cast members. Okay. So, for that reason, for all of the reasons that I listed above, I'm actually going to give this episode a 10. I enjoyed it. I'm passionate. I have found recently that I am a lot more passionate about shows, like I said in the start of this video, that are about relationships, relationship dynamics. I feel like it's something that we can all relate to on our own level. It doesn't matter what your preference is. You, in some way, shape, or form, are most likely going to be in relation with someone. And so some of these issues, they may touch us all. Okay. And so listen, shout out to the cast for putting their issues out there like that for us to, chime in on. And, I hats off to them for that. Let's get into exactly what happened in this episode. Back at the don't call it a comeback, but it's really a comeback group meeting. I've been here for years. Shout out to everybody who knew what that was from last week. LL Cool J, y'all know, okay. I'm an old school hip hop head, so you know what I'm saying. I gotta pull out a verse or two every now and again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know how we do it. Y'all know how we do it. And thank y'all for appreciating it, man. I love us. I love us for real, beloveds. So anyway, Marceau is like, because Kimmy's on this thing like, yeah, this is basically the comeback group. I mean, y'all just taking the initiatives and trying to label it something under black. And Marceau is like, well, listen, it's a whole bunch of dysfunction that come with the comeback group. And basically Kimmy's like, well, you was the biggest source of the dysfunction. I was like, well, let's explore that. Let's walk down that line, because I'm not clear on how she meant that. So I wanted to dive more into that, but we didn't really get to. Because Kimmy then asked if Mel had issues with them making it a comeback initiative because Mel didn't want to be in the comeback group no more. And she does not. Mel asked, is there a date? It's March 8th. Mel can't do it. Get somebody else to do it. I got to go on tour with Eric Billinger. Okay. Maurice is like, well, maybe we can Skype her in for a masterclass. Letitia's like, no. So then Mel is like, now listen. You came here with all this kumbaya energy, talking about we are family, like a giant tree springing up from this to the sky. We are a family, but what about me? What about you, Effie? Anyway, but Mel is like, girl, you not being open-minded right now, okay? So there's some discussion about whether or not Tisha even really wants to be there in that moment. And I was like, where did that come from? Maurice wants it to be all 6 of them or nothing. Okay. And Marceau wants to know, well, if Mel, are you all in and will you speak? And Mel is like, I'm not so sure, because I want to take baby steps with y'all. Okay. I mean, I don't really know if I like y'all like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, but maybe I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't know, So we're at an impasse right now at the moment, because Maurice is not going to do it unless it's the 6 of them, because there's more synergy when they are all together. All right, so Mel heads to the pole dancing class and she invites Nell Fletcher. She has a different relationship, it seems like, with Nell than from some of the rest of the cast members, because she feels like that she can trust Nell for whatever reason. And poor Nell and these sky high heels and this pole. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But she was trying to do the work. I mean, she did what she could. But Mel was out the country, in case you don't recall. Okay, and so Nell wants to know the tea. Well, what we learn is the man feels like a protector for Melody, and she didn't realize that she didn't have that in her marriage. Ooh. And she feels like this person is her prince. And Nell is like, well, when I'm gonna meet him? Am I gonna meet him? Am I gonna meet him? I ain't got to know his name. But just let me meet him. Let me meet. And so Mel is like, I mean, maybe, but not right now. And she says some people probably won't know until she announced that she's married. Girl, I don't blame you. You know, that is something. I mean, I cannot, based on what we know she has been through, and I've seen a lot of commentary in the comments about, well, you know, it was stated that Destiny didn't show her man. So, why? I mean, you know, what's the difference? I will tell you the difference. Okay. Now, I don't know why Destiny is not here because I believe you me, I definitely wanted to know. Okay. And so far I have not heard anything about why she's not there. But what I will say is that my guess is the biggest difference between the two is that I would consider them two different trees in the forest. Okay. I'm gonna use an analogy. So for people who are asking, well, you know, I mean, if Destiny had to show her man, why Melanie can't have to show her man? Well, let me tell you why. Okay, you got two different trees in the same forest. One tree has been there longer and has deeper roots than the other. So when the wind blows, if one tree got deeper roots, that tree is going to remain rooted in place. The other tree may fall and it may sway with the wind. So, with that being said, it makes more sense to a certain degree. Now, do we want to know? Yes. I ain't gonna even lie. I want to know who he is, you know, what he do, you know what I'm saying, where they be going. But I mean, by and large, I kind of feel like, yeah, I get it. I mean, I would be petrified of if I was her of letting the moment Martell find out who that man is, I mean, I'd be afraid for God if I was her, okay? Because you just don't know what could happen. Beyond that, okay, as Carlos pointed out when we talked about this last week, you got to make sure that this person is there for you and not for the camera, okay? And okay, the fact of the matter is, Mel has deeper connections with the group and with the original concept of the show than Destiny had. So I don't know why Destiny not there. But I would wager to say that it probably is for more reasons than just because she did not show her man. I mean, that's just my guess. But I don't know. Okay. But that would be my guess. So there you have my commentary on it because I've seen a lot of you guys putting it in the comment section down below. If that is unsatisfactory for you, then I suggest you write to the HR department over at the Kingdom Reign and the OWN TV, and then you express your displeasure. Okay. But otherwise, that's all I got to say because I don't know. Meanwhile, she tells Nell about the Black Expo with the Black with the Q Expo, and she's like, you know, girl, we barely just getting all on speaking terms again, and it's been too much bad blood between us, you know. And I was told I had a dark heart and a dark soul. So, girl, I don't really know. I'm taking baby steps with these people, okay? But she does say she has no desire to be back with the comeback group. I mean, even Beyonce had to leave Destiny's Child. She said, God said no. Bloop. No, 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 no. When it's really yeah, 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 yeah. Or better yet, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing mighty fine. Last time I seen you, it's been a long time. Stop smiling at me, get the look off your face. Please don't even front. Stop being so fake. I know you do not like me, and you made it. See, you know, I could go all. Listen, I'm in that mood this weekend, baby. I'm in that mood this weekend. Y'all gonna get all the notes. So anyway, Scott Manor is going to take about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more years before it settles. So in the meantime, what Marceau is going to do is he's going to do some renovations to the current house that they're living in. In order for him to do that, they got to get out. They got to go and find an apartment down the street, down to the community center, and they got to find some place to live down there. Okay, so they're going to explore the apartments. Now, as they are doing so, Marceau is like, well, you know what? I'm going to take MJ, okay, because he's 16. And we gonna stay at the house so we can do all the work throughout the night. Working on a chain gang. So we can so we can get the work done quicker in 6 months. And Letitia's like, no, you not. You staying here. You staying here. And when you get up in the morning, you can go down there. You can sleep here with your family. To be honest with you, now I don't know how Marceau works. So I can't really call, because he does bring up an example of that time she went away for like a weekend or something like that, and he was able to get a whole bunch of things done because she won't there. If we talking about a 6-month period of time where you telling me that you're gonna live someplace else, that ain't gonna work for me. I don't play it. No, it's not. I don't care if I am right down the street at the community center or apartment complex, and you at the house. That don't make no sense to me. What you can do is every night, everybody needs a quitting time, okay? And if you think that you're gonna be working till 1 a.m. doing all of these things while I'm running around with these girls and trying to make things pop and pop, lock, and drop, while you gonna be over there at your bachelor pad, no, it ain't happening, okay? And he's like, it's not gonna be no bachelor pad. But at the end of the day, she's like, well, listen. He says, well, the compromise is this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to hire some people, and it's gonna have to come out your pocket, okay? Basically, out her allowance, or out of their allowance, I should say, because he did say their allowance. And I was like, it just felt like a little bit of like, I can't call it manipulation because it ain't that. It was a compromise, but it was a compromise wrapped in petty. Okay? Wrapped in petty paper. So it had petty paper wrapped all up. It was wrapped all up in that petty paper. And I ain't like it. I ain't like it. I was displeased. And she ain't particularly like it either, but she knew one thing. He wasn't gonna be staying nowhere by himself for 6 months. How about that? It don't even sound right to me. Why would you even want to? Like that just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe because they've been married for like however many years. He be like, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of, not like that. Hear me when I say I'm not meaning it like that for people to run around saying that he don't, you trying to say he don't want her? No, it ain't that. But I'm just saying that it may be at a certain point in time after, almost 20 years or whatever, you might be feeling like, oh, I can, you know what, I can 6 months, I can stay over here, you can stay over there, be fine. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that it don't sound right to me right now. Okay. Courtney meets with Marceau on the construction. What I do like about this show also too, because I was literally looking like, I was like, oh damn, they are doing some good work over there in this shopping center. They putting in a upscale barber shop next to Black, alongside Letitia's real estate offices and things like that. The offices of Scott and Scott and Scott and Scott and Scott. And so I was just like, yes, this is nifty. Anyway, Courtney stops by to get some advice on, working with family. And, we learn, again, see, new things. When we learn new things in a scene, I love it. We learned that actually, and maybe we already knew this, but we needed to be reminded, but I didn't know it. I don't think I knew it. I don't remember it. Anyway, we learned that Marceau has even fired Maurice. He's like, this is working with family. Sometimes you got to fire him. I had to fire Maurice because he was getting on my nerves about this wedding to his first wife. Nobody told this man to get married at 23, so I had to fire him. I said, Blue. So anyway, Letitia meets with Mel to chat about their issues with the comeback group, okay? And, they chat about Mel and Martell and how that works with the custody, but Mel don't want to get into too many details because there's still an ongoing battle. So Letitia then dives in and she's like, I'm used to you leading the meetings and being more involved, but I kind of felt like you was just sitting there. Now, I didn't get that impression, but of course the meeting could have lasted for 5 hours and that we could have just seen 20 minutes, but it didn't seem like that. So, Mel is like, well, listen, we done all been through a lot with each other over the past 3 years, especially coming off of last year's reunion. I mean, she didn't say that word, but I'm like, yeah, that's what she's talking about because we get a flashback of it. And, even being around Martell, and she's just trying to take it slow and realistic. And Letitia says, okay, I understand your position and, I won't force it. But she also wants to remember that this focus is for the community. And Mel says she can't be there anyway because she has the performance with Eric Billinger. the next day. But Letitia's like, well, I better not see you online on some vacation, booed up with somebody. I better see you doing what you said you was gonna be doing. That's fair. That's fair. So Letitia asked if she will come to look at an event space with the group, and then so she can let Maurice know, because y'all remember Maurice is not gonna do it unless it's all for one and one for all. Okay. So Mel is just chopping on her food like she didn't hear. She was like, "What you say?" God said what? God said no. And so Mel actually gives her number so that she can send Maurice a video explaining to him that she will not be doing the event. And I was like, "You giving her your number? Hell has really frozen over." And now y'all know I don't even curse like that. But I was like, now see, I like to see this. I like to see at least being able to be cordial, have conversations, deal with real issues, making baby steps. I feel like this felt good to me. Okay. I ain't looking backwards in the past because we only got today. So today I'm going to celebrate the fact that they are on one accord. Stormi, oh God. Ooh, this scene right here, baby. This scene right here. I got a headache. Now, it's a sinus headache and it's completely unrelated, but I got a headache nonetheless thinking about it, okay? So, mind you, my allergies are just the worst this year. Ooh. So anyway, um, here's the issue. There's a bottom line, there's an issue with Miss Betty, which is Stormi's mom, and Aunt Lisa, which is Junior's mom. Aunt Lisa and Miss Betty are sisters. Okay. There's already some beef, some type of off-putting feelings with them. But once Stormi fired Junior, these issues exploded. Now, Aunt Lisa didn't hear about it from Junior or Stormi, who she was expecting to hear it from. She heard it from Miss Betty. Miss Betty told it to her in such a way that inflamed the situation for Aunt Lisa, because it was followed by, how dare he, just say that he's an employee when she's given him so much. She has done so much for him. She had done took and spent $15,000 to bail him out of jail. How did we get here? How did we get here? And you know what? Before we even got there, though, Aunt Lisa's asking a question like, why are you so passionate about this? Stormi, is this your business or is it Miss Betty's? Now, that's a good question, because Stormi, it is your business. Stormi with her family reminds me of Candy with hers. I said it. I had to say it. It reminds me of two scenes. It reminded me of the scene where I know I might get some flack for this. It reminded me of the scene of Tamika Scott and her mama and her sister. It also reminded me of the scene at the bridal shop with Mama Joyce and Carmen and Candy coming out in towards the end of it. And it just makes it just and maybe it's difficult for Stormi in that situation because that's her mom, right? So I'm as I talk about this, I got to have some, we talk about elder parents with respect. At least I got to, right? And that's just how I am. That's how I got to do it, because my mama watching. And so when we think about this, I feel personally like Miss Betty went too far in that moment, because truthfully, while I don't judge him or Stormi for that in this moment, I don't. I mean, I don't know what the circumstances were. I try to just follow the narrative of the story as much as I possibly can, unless something is popping off in social media currently, but these seem to be past events. And so I just have to leave it there. But I think she was wrong to bring that up, because while it may be true, that has no bearing on exactly what happened. And the issue between Stormi and Junior is really between Stormi and Junior. And this is yet another example of Miss Betty, kind of butting into Stormi's business, whether it was with her friends, but now it's also with her and employees. And even though that employee is family, would Miss Betty have that same energy towards another employee? No, because she probably wouldn't care because she don't know them. So it's kind of like you have to trust your daughter to handle her business because clearly she's been able to do very, very well for herself. Unless you are telling me that you are the one behind the scenes as the managing the puppets. You know what I'm saying? So unless that's the case, which it doesn't seem to be, it's like, why are you in the biz? Okay. Are you the manager on duty? Because that's what it sounded like. You the manager on duty. So Junior blows up. He's like, so what? I went to jail. Aunt Lisa's like, take this mic off of me. She's like, get it off me, right? And she's like, everybody has done something wrong. You've done something wrong, Miss Betty. You've done something wrong too. Stormi, you went to jail too. Well, the wheels just fell off, okay? The wheels have fallen off. And, Stormi in her confessional tells us that she was 19. And for whatever happened, I don't know what. She didn't really say. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really, it don't sound like it was anything that major. The judge, she stayed in jail for like 3 days, and the judge, I think, not bailed her, but the judge found out she was like a college student, and it was off her record. Aunt Lisa is breaking down. Still, this woman is like struggling with this mic. My Lord, help her. Ain't nobody in production help her. Meanwhile, Miss Betty is laughing. Now, it did seem real cruel the way Miss Betty, I ain't gonna lie to you, it did. And I got to say I'm sorry to Miss Betty as the elder mother. But I gotta say, it did seem real cruel that you was laughing in that moment. Even though I got what I understood that she was laughing because she was like, oh, you trying to throw this in her face, but it won't even for nothing major. That's what it seemed like to me. But the fact that it was at a time when Aunt Lisa is still struggling to get out this mic pack. I mean, Lord have mercy, the cords must have been just as thick as the day. I was looking for something to try to describe it because I like to do a little show and tell, but I can't do nothing without unhooking this computer, and I ain't about to do that. So anyway, Lord help him. So Aunt Lisa's ready to fight. All right. Stormi finally realized they got bigger issues, and then Junior, I think at this point, Aunt Lisa runs out. And Junior's asking Miss Betty why she feels so comfortable airing everybody out. But she says, I don't want to talk to you, you little condescending prick. I was like, now, Miss Betty to me strikes me as one of those people that it would be hard for me to deal with. And let me tell you why. I cannot deal with people who, when they get angry, they say what they will say whatever they need to say to hurt you the most. Because I can argue with you and stay on point. I don't have to disparage you. I do not have to call you names. I don't have to try to make you feel like the scum of the earth. No, I can argue with you and I can win or lose based on my take on the argument that we're talking about. And to be quite honest with you, I'm at an age now where I don't even want to be right. You be right. Go ahead. You be right, because I want my peace. Okay. So Aunt Lisa is crying by the pool. She says, your mama is evil. Your mama is evil. So they convince her to go outside. Back inside. Next thing you know, she's screaming at Miss Betty to leave her child alone. And Miss Betty, because Miss Betty is going off on Junior. You condescending little prick. And so Aunt Lisa says, "You sold your soul to the devil, and we not sisters no more." So Aunt Lisa runs out again, and she's crying by the fence now. She feels blindsided by Stormi because she trusted Stormi. I'm like, was she blindsided by the scene, or was it something else? So anyway, Stormi explains that it's hard for her and Junior to be in this situation. And as Stormi is trying to make, Stormi's trying to make them talk. And Aunt Lisa's like, if she have to talk to her again, she gonna go to jail. And as she's saying this, Miss Betty's rolling up for round 3. And all I gotta say about this situation is, Stormi, you have got to learn that everybody, you may not have your family being whole, but you ain't the one with the problem. They got the problem. So maybe you and Junior need to stay out of what they got going on. For as much as your mama is in your employee's business, okay, and maybe because it's family, she think it's okay, but she's also in you and your friend's business, which to me is also not okay. So I think what you got to do is take a page out of, the Zen book of things, because I know that's we can relate on that type of vibe. You're gonna have to protect your peace, and protecting your peace might be, I gotta let this go. I gotta let y'all go and let y'all be what y'all gonna be, because it ain't helping your sanity at all, none either. Okay, you and Junior need to fix y'all issues, but it don't have to have anything to do with Aunt Lisa and Miss Betty. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to take that up with God. Okay, and that's really all I gotta say about it.